The following presentation is from PBS Home Video.
This is PBS.
The following program is brought to you by Texas Instruments, the people who create useful products and services through advanced technology.
Albert Einstein dreamt of finding a unified field theory, a single equation that might account for every fundamental process in nature, from the jostling of atoms to the wheeling of the galaxies. Today, science is close to fulfilling Einstein's dream. The nucleus of the atom has yielded up evidence of an elegant simplicity underlying the wild diversity of the universe. New unified theories are being written that reveal traces of this primordial simplicity.
Frances Hellman. I'm a professor and I'm chair of the physics department, and I'd like to welcome you to the first of what will, I believe, be many public lectures sponsored by the Berkeley Center for Theoretical Physics. So this center, and I think many of you were just at the reception for this, was formed to bring together some of the greatest minds in theoretical physics to search for answers to some of the most pressing questions about the universe. And our speaker today is an illustrious example of one of those minds. So events like this lecture are part of the mission of this center to not only bring together those minds, but to bring some of that science out to the public as well. So I'd like to give you a brief biographical sketch of David Gross. David Gross received his bachelor's and master's degree from the Hebrew University of Jerusalem in 1962. He received his PhD in physics from UC Berkeley in 1966, then spent 3 years as a junior fellow at Harvard.
It's a delight to be back here. Some of my thesis advisor, my teachers, Professors Chu and Mandelstam are in the audience, some of my fellow graduate students. I really owe a lot to Berkeley, and I was happy to repay it partly a few years ago when I served on a review committee that reviewed the Berkeley Physics Department and came down very hard on the Berkeley administration for not supporting enough this jewel of physics in the United States. As a consequence of that, within 2 weeks, the administration gave Physics Department $12 million. Which they've used to create this incredible center that we all saw, or some of us saw this afternoon, which will help continue the great tradition that Berkeley has played in American science, and especially in theoretical physics. So I did my part in getting the 12 million. They still need a lot more, it seems. And, you know, I appeal to those of you who have the means to contribute as well to the success of the Berkeley Physics Department and the Center for Theoretical Physics. So I'm going to talk today about the coming revolutions in fundamental physics, and I'm going to briefly discuss the state of particle physics and the discoveries that we expect are around the corner.
Einstein used to say that the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it's comprehensible. It's an old riddle. What is there about the human mind that so resonates with the rest of the universe that we're able to understand anything about the workings of nature on the largest scale? It's a philosophical question, I suppose, but science has been able to provide us with a little bit of the answer. When we look at subatomic particles and when we look at the stars and galaxies, we see evidence from every direction that the universe is all of a piece and that it began as a single seed smaller than an atom. And in a very real sense, you and I were there. Every scrap of matter and energy in our blood and bones and in the synapses of our thoughts can trace its lineage back to the origin of the universe. The natural laws that fragmented and multiplied as the young universe expanded and cooled continue to operate today in the beating of our hearts as well as in the trajectories of the stars. As the Quran puts it, the universe is as close as the veins in our necks. The evolution of the universe goes on not just around us, but within us. Our thoughts and feelings, after all, are part of the universe too. And its story is our story as well.
This program has been brought to you by Texas Instruments, the people who create useful products and services through advanced technology.
This is PBS.
Einstein used to say that the most incomprehensible thing about the universe is that it's comprehensible. It's an old riddle. What is there about the human mind that so resonates with the rest of the universe that we're able to understand anything about the workings of nature on the largest scale? Einstein used to say,
another important recent finding was made by X-ray observatories in Earth orbit. Artificial satellites launched to view the sky, not in ordinary visible light, not in radio waves, but in X-ray light. There seems to be an immense cloud of extremely hot hydrogen glowing in X-rays between some galaxies. Now, if this amount of intergalactic matter were typical of all clusters of galaxies, then there may be just enough matter to close the cosmos and to trap us forever in an oscillating universe. If the cosmos is closed, there's a strange, haunting, evocative possibility, one of the most exquisite conjectures in science or religion. It's entirely undemonstrated. It may never be proved, but it's stirring. Our entire universe, to the furthest galaxy, we are told, is no more than a closed electron in a far grander universe we can never see. And that universe is only an elementary particle in another still greater universe, and so on forever. Also, every electron in our universe, it is claimed, is an entire miniature cosmos containing galaxies and stars and life and electrons. Every one of those electrons contains a still smaller universe, an infinite regression, up and down. Every human generation has asked about the origin and fate of the cosmos. Ours is the first generation with a real chance of finding some of the answers. One way or another, we are poised at the edge of forever.
Einstein used to say,
another important recent finding, in fact, this is a reasonably stunning piece of information. In fact, this is a reasonably stunning piece of information. In fact, this is a reasonably stunning piece of information. In fact, this is a reasonably stunning piece of information.
The finite island universe of Albert Einstein. For Einstein in 1879 at birth and throughout his life, to age 1919 at 40 years old, the universe as a whole when he wrote Relativity 1917, consisted of our Milky Way universe of stars alone. beyond which lie an infinite region of stellar emptiness. Einstein never considered the possibility of an infinite hierarchy of galaxies. In 1917, our Milky Way of stars, viewed on a starlight night, was not viewed as an island spiral galaxy. Einstein's gravitational field treatment for any and all distributions of stars is exactly correct. It is simple. It is visual. It is elegant. In 1917, Einstein was 38 years old and too old to think like the child. From the biography Subtle is the Lord by Abraham Hayes, page 464. The universe as a whole in 1923. Does field theory offer possibilities for the solution of the quantum problem? In 1923, Einstein was 44 years old and continued to live in a finite island universe which was not a physical reality. In 6th grade, Timothy Cryer recognized many other surrounding galaxies and examined the resultant gravitational field which permeated throughout his experience. Classroom, schoolyard, entire Earth shared by all men. In 8th grade he delivered his 10 Commandments retort to school principal Helen F. Stoner by 44 years old. For Einstein, the reality of galaxies not recognized by Einstein would forever doom Einstein to failure. By 11 years old, for Timothy Cryer, the reality of galaxies recognized by Timothy Cryer would complement Crier's attempts to unify matter and fields since 4 years old and make it easy to far exceed Einstein. For any doubts about that, contact Gross at copy.uxb.edu and Hartle at physics.uxb.edu.
In fact, this is a reasonably stunning piece of information. In fact, this is a reasonably stunning piece of information.
Atrás! 3 weeks from now, I will be harvesting my crops. Imagine where you will be, and it will be so. Hold the line. Stay with me. If you find yourself alone, riding in green fields with the sun on your face, do not be troubled, for you are in Elysium. And you're already dead. Brothers, what we do in life echoes in eternity.